Everyone, welcome to the stream. How's everyone going? Okay, I think we're all set up. Haven't done this in a while since I went on Christmas break. For those who don't know me, my name is Layla. I'm a 3D character artist working in the games industry. Today, I thought it would be cool if we played around with the Retopology brush that recently was added to ZBrush. Okay, is my stylus working? Yes, awesome. This is a character you might have seen me work on 2 years ago. Never finished her, I know. But I thought it would be a great opportunity to transform her into a game-ready character, so do Retopology inside ZBrush and show you all the new functionality added in ZBrush 2026. Also, excuse my red cheeks, it's about 30 degrees right now here in Australia, so pretty hot. Also, I decided to wear my really heavy but really cool Death Note shirt, which I love, but man, is it hot in it. Okay, well, let's get started. Hi, hey, free Corlin of time. A Corin in time of time? Is that a reference to Ocarina of Time? Hey Layla, hey Lazy. Awesome to see Zelda again. I know, it's been such a long time. She's cute, I just need to finish her. However, I've been playing around with the Resopo brush a bit. And it's so much fun. So I'll show you guys. For those who don't know why we need to do Retopology, I'll quickly explain. Whoop. So, basically, in games, we need to put these models inside them, right? But currently, Zelda has 27.8 million points, which is a lot. Imagine if all the characters that you see on screen at the same time had this many polygons. This is really heavy. So with Retopology, we go in, take an object such as her hair, which I merged together, closed all the holes. So if you look at this object, you'll see that I sort of glued together all the pieces that would go together. So I would treat her hair, because it's such a short hairstyle, as a solid object. So I went ahead and merged all of them together, closed all the holes. The reason being, if I had like a hole here, first of all, it's just not what we do in games. Second of all, it would give me a cleaner bake if it was like this. Yeah, and I mean, if you do leave holes in your mesh and the player, let's say, for instance, they rotate the camera like this and they'll see into here, they'll peer into the void because of how real-time engines work. They would see like this, either the environment, like IBL, or something else entirely. Basically, that would not be good. So, merge it all together. Then I went B for brush, R for Retopology, and then if you hit E, which I use shortcuts all the time, and I encourage all of you to do so as well, E, you'll go into Retopon. Because I've already done it, it's not gonna like ask me anything, but it will create this sort of scenario where everything else is grayed out, and you have this new active Retopo mesh. Also, don't look at my namings, they're atrocious. staying true to myself. And usually ZBrush by default would turn on the wireframe and the polygroups. So you'd see something like this, and your cursor would change to this orange dot slash edge, depending on where you are. So with that, you can turn on the symmetry or turn off the symmetry, doesn't matter. For me, because it's an asymmetrical mesh, sometimes I'll have to turn it off. So let's turn it off for now. And just like that, we can start dropping on our points. And then if we hold down spacebar, we can now add polygons. Hey, I get to watch Retopo while working in Retopo. Awesome. Hi, Miro, Freedy. I forgot to turn on the chat, so it looks like I'm talking to myself. Ah. Interesting. Yeah, there you go. Hi. It camera-based snapping, or is it use objects like it's in Maya? It uses the object itself. However, if you drop a point, like let's say here, you're trying to drop it, let's say there, but because you were looking at it from such a weird angle, it's gonna snap here. So sometimes you need to, move it a bit. That's not all it can do. Good morning. Hello, Renlido. Sorry, butchering all of your nicknames as usual. Hello, beautiful. Hello, Buriameti. Welcome. Okay. So that's just dropping points and filling in the polygons the usual way. But what if I want to get faster? Well, you're in luck, or I'm in luck. So this body is getting in the way. So let's Control-Shift-Click on the eye icon to turn everything off. And now I'll just leave these two on. So now nothing is getting in my way. To turn these two on, I just clicked. Nothing fancy. Now, if we hold down... Come on. Interesting. Like, it's refusing... Ah, okay. Now it's working. Weird. So this is perfect, actually. So we got these points that I put on by accident. To remove them, you just do the same thing you do to clear anything in ZBrush, like the ZBrush guidelines or topology brush lines or zero mesher guidelines. Yeah, you just control and drag on the canvas. They're gone. Now, if we hold down Alt and drag the edge, it's gonna do this. However, if we let go of the Alt and press on it again, ooh, what is this? You can also cycle through 3 options. So I think the first option is Alt like this. Then there's no, I think, yeah, okay. So that's what I wanted. As in like not the full circle, but just this poly loop that we have going on here. So let's say I were to extrude it like this. Yeah, so if you just, without letting go of your cursor, cycle through Alt, so this is another option, this is another option, and this is the default option. I should really turn on like screen capture thing. like my key capture. I'll do it for the next stream if I remember. Bup, 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 bup. Can you hard surface model using the new topology brush as well? You can do anything with it. It's so great. You can use it in combination with ZModeler, which is what I've been doing. So yeah, you can do anything. Okay, so we figured out what Alt does. Now, you see how I'm dragging this point, but I'm also affecting the other point on the top, and this one and this one. So this is because the Retopology brush is dependent on your brush size. So had I dropped it down and did the same thing, you see, only dragging this point, nothing else. There is another way. Let's say this is just your preferred draw size. You don't want to change it. Okay, let me turn off the chat for a second. Nope, that's not the chat. This is the chat. And let's go to brush while you have Retopology brush selected. Go to brush, and it's going to be right behind my head somewhere. Retopology. There you go. So these 4 settings plus this one, which is self-explanatory. This is how much 2 points or edges or anything is going to get attracted to each other. So if you drop it down, they won't snap at all. So they won't kiss, you know. But if it's set to 1, they'll kiss and they'll snap. Now, move by draw size is what we want. If we disable it, you see, I have a big brush that's supposed to affect the whole area, but I'm moving it and I'm only affecting this point, which is more akin to how Maya is set up. Without this option, this would be equal to Maya's soft selection. If you guys are more used to Maya's retopology, I think I'm gonna move to ZBrush now because why would I bring it there now that I can keep everything in one software and rename everything and have high polys and low polys here? Just makes sense. Hello, new here. Do you know if the same technique applies to the iPad version? I think the Retopology is there. However, some features are still getting transferred. So I would check the iPad specific Retopology tutorial in ZBrush. However, I think the whole thing should already be there. It's just maybe some options are a bit different, especially like the hotkeys. I haven't played with the iPad version yet. I mean the Retopology brush specifically. The surface-based snapping. Double-sided. What do you mean by double-sided? You mean this? Oh yeah, it is nicer. I am kind of used to this view, but yeah, that's a great tip. Thank you, Karsten. So if you guys getting annoyed by you know, seeing through the object to see the other like backside of the polygons that you're creating, you can turn off double. That's great. Is it surface-based snapping? I think so. I'm not a tech person. I did go in and prepared my mesh, as I said, for the hair. I made sure there were no holes before I jumped in and retopologized the thing. Hey, back, it's 5 a.m. in Mumbai. What's your time? It's about 9:30 here. Okay, back to it. What else can we do? Many things. We have this option where if you want to drop down an edge loop, you can easily do so by holding down space and left clicking and dragging, like wherever you want to. I think if you let go of Alt, no, I think it has to be Control. Okay, 1 second. Still new to this. Don't remember. I'll need to brush up on that, but I was sure it was the middle mouse button. Sorry, middle mouse wheel, but perhaps it's not. But as you can see, when you drop it, it immediately snaps to the surface instead of sinking down, which often happens when I retopologize in other software, which is really neat. Not to have to, you know, extract your points from somewhere deep inside the mesh. Yeah, I thought this would be a very chill stream, maybe answer some questions and play around with retopology, because I've been asked a lot to do a retopology demo on stream, because I think this topic is not covered enough online. So a lot of, especially beginner artists, are a bit confused on the topic. So here I am. So yeah, you can pretty much drag out any element, such as edge, point, or face. What else can you do? So I prefer to drag out edges, but everyone's different. I just find it to be the most time efficient option. Okay, have a dot there. I just played FIFA. Do you like FIFA? No, never played it. Let me turn the chat back. Oh, wow, it's a big chat. I'll just make it smaller. You guys don't mind? I'm not even sure if it's legible on this size. We'll see. This is a major game changer. Yeah, right? I've been waiting for it for years and it's finally here. So much fun. I used to hate Retopology when I was just starting out, but now it's so chill. If we know sculpting in Blender, it's easier sculpt in ZBrush because some tools might be same, not like Blender and my extrude bevel, and you all know what I'm saying. Sorry, I don't really know what you're saying. Is it easier to sculpt in ZBrush? Yeah. I am used to ZBrush, so for me it is. I learned Blender a while back in 2014, and then back then Blender wasn't that big of a deal. It was before the Donut tutorial and Andrew Price. Basically introducing everyone to Blender. So for me, ZBrush is easier. Getting a new UI this year as well, which is exciting. So many new things to learn, to try out. I get excited about new ZBrush releases if it was a game that I've been waiting for years. Where would I connect this point? That's new. Ah, to delete a face, I don't think I said that. You just alt click on it. I just wanted to create a triangle. So I did that. Triangles are important. I think I'm gonna scale down my draw size because it's annoying a bit. If you don't like the colors, by the way, you can easily just go here and turn off fill, and then it's just gonna be one monotone color, which is usually gray. I think with my current character, I'm going to stick with the ZBrush Maya workflow, but with my next character, I'm definitely going to use the Retopology brush to save having to go back and forth so much. Exactly. Lol, I still have hate Topo, but it's much better now. And it's quite quick in ZBrush now, but fun. Not really. I don't know. For me, it's like a Rubik's Cube, that you need to solve. And I usually, and by this point, I've retopologized so many characters that it's a breeze now. You don't need to think as much. Obviously, some areas get more tricky. So you might like need to look up some solutions, maybe like look up how other people have done it. But yeah, 90% of the time, I'm just doing it autopilot, and I have maybe like a podcast on the background. I rarely listen to any music. I only play music for you guys, so it's not so awkward, me just talking for 2 hours straight. But what kind of music do you guys listen to? I'm always curious because as I said, rarely listen to anything. I know a lot of free artists into like metal for some reason. ZBrush is easier. Whoa. Uh, for me, yes. Oh, is there a setting for the distance at which the vertices are merged? Yeah, there is. I think I mentioned it. Boop, boop, boop. Let's turn off the chat. If you go to brush, while you have Retopology brush selected, brush, scroll down, there is a Retopology window. One sec. Yeah, so here I disabled, this is on by default, but I don't want to move by focal shift or draw size. If you drop this down to 0, these will not connect. If you bring it back up, or at least like halfway, so about at this point, they're gonna snap. There you go. If you bring it all the way, as soon as it sees one, it will snap. So, that what you mean? I'll leave it at 1. 1. Hello. Hello, Hamka. Hello, Vlad. welcome. Hi, does this tool have some similar multi-cut type function? Can you start on a vert and deliberately make an n-gon and as you might do when solving a kite issue in Maya? Kite. I think there is. I just haven't tried cutting yet. I think there was. 1 second. Perhaps if we just jump into ZModeler, the easiest would be to slice mesh points, and you just slice it like this to add a quick cut. I know that's not quite what you're asking about, and it creates a crease, but it's very easy to get rid of. I have it here, uncrease all, and you can just uncrease it. Perhaps there is a way, I just haven't learned of it yet. I know there's a way to do this. That's what you're asking. Otherwise, oop, triangle. You rarely need n-gons in your topology, in my experience. Maybe as a starting point, right? But I don't think ZBrush works with n-gons at all. It either needs to be a quad or a triangle. I think Retop is better than low poly in hard stuff. Surf. Do you prefer Retopology over low poly and hard surface? I don't like hard surface at all. I have to do it sometimes, but not my cup of tea. I can't listen to metal normally, let alone when I'm trying to concentrate. Well, some people can, and they love it. I usually don't listen to music when sculpting, but if I'm out of creative flow, Enigma gets it flowing every time. Enigma. So how far down the pipeline can we take a character using ZBrush? For now, I believe it's Retopology, and let me quickly check if they've added it yet. Because I know it has been announced. Yeah, they said ZBrush maybe. I need to check because yeah, no. There's a UV master that was always present here, which I've used sometimes here. I have seen like a snippet of a new improved UV editor in ZBrush. I don't think it has come out yet. However, it doesn't stop you from taking, let's say this is my final piece. Let's save. Cool. Now, if we go to Z plugin and UV master, you can unwrap it using symmetry or not, because this is a non-symmetrical mesh, so I don't want that. Then you can use polygroups. If you don't turn them on, ZBrush will automatically like calculate where it wants to place the cuts, and it'll cut it. And then you can just say unwrap, and then it crashes. I shouldn't have clicked while I was doing unwrap. Good thing I saved. We'll try it again. In the meantime, So what I was saying, you can sculpt the character, you can retopologize the character. There is a UV workflow that can be used. It's not as polished yet, but you could use it. Then you could even bake out some maps. I usually bake out my polypaint as a like base diffuse texture that I'm going to use in Substance. And then I bake everything else in Marmoset or Substance. Like normals, ambient occlusion, curvature, yada yada yada. Yes, thank you. Sweet. My music taste is all over the place. I usually pick the new songs from movies, TV shows. Maybe that's why. I'm the same actually. If I like a movie and the movie had a really good soundtrack, I can listen to it for ages. Also, I got a quick save there, which is nice. But we also saved manually, so we're good. Depends on what mood I have. Sometimes hard, sometimes pop, and sometimes chill music, I mean. I find Retopology a meditative process, a way to relax my thoughts and catch the flow. Synthwave music is very helpful in this regard. I agree. Yes, because I started from hard surface and that was really boring. Yeah. I mean, we all had to at some point try out like hard surface modeling or poly modeling. When I found out that all the characters for Arcane were poly modeled inside Maya, my brain was just mad respect to all the artists who worked at Fortiche on that production. UV was teased but not released. Hopefully, it will come. Ah, of course it will. That's why I was double checking because sometimes there'll be a new feature that was teased and I'm like, yeah, it's out. And then you guys are like, nah, Layla, actually not out yet. That's on me. Yeah, so let's try it again. I don't know. It shouldn't have crashed. If it crashes again, I won't do it. Maybe we'll just try it on another mesh. Nah, it should be fine here. Could be a bit confused because it's not a closed mesh. I don't know. Let's try it one more time. So you have this UV master unwrap. Sweet. Subtool unwrapped, one polygroups, one islands generated. So it's going to be one island. If we turn on double, you'll see the mesh from both sides. So it's easier. You go to UV map and turn this all the way down and morph UV. This is what your UVs look like. Not perfect, but you could work with it. And if, let's say, I painted something on it, like fill color, which color, I know, magnificent. Go to texture map. In UV map, you can set your size, like 4K, and then you go here and create. And there you go, you have your diffuse texture. So it is possible. However, it needs to be played around with some more, like some settings. Once you've unwrapped it, you can also flatten it and you can adjust it. So if you flatten it now, it'll show you what your UVs look like. And you're like, oh, actually, I want it to be horizontal instead of vertical. So you can do this literally, scale it. You can also relax it a bit, similar to how Maya's, what's it called? Unfold and, oh, my brain is having a freeze. Unfold and not offset. You know the one. Yeah, so you can relax. Now you're done, and you go unflatten, and now it has been applied to this mesh, and it's saved in this mesh. So if you morph it again, you can preview it. By default, what ZBrush does, which is weird, but that's how it is, it flips the UVs on the vertical axis. So if you have problems with that later down the line when you explore out, you can always go adjust to UVs and flip V. This way, the UVs will appear the correct way. Let me read the chat. How does it keep on moving? I tend to listen to anime, movie soundtracks, or lo-fi music generally. But sometimes I just need to switch it all off, but I'll have it on just to get it in the mood. I see. Oh, also I don't trust the quick save. Sometimes. I usually have it set to, yeah, like every hour or so. I tend to save myself pretty often, so. Hello, Happy New Year. Thank you, Matet. Happy New Year to you too. Is it true that Characters Arcane was sculpted in Maya? Not sculpted, modeled by hand. And yes, as far as you can trust the people on ArtStation. I'll show you. I can't show you because I'm capturing the ZBrush screen, but I'll just send a link to the chat. Powder Jinx modeling. But yeah, if you go on ArtStation and just type in Arcane, you'll see a lot of character modelers have posted their contributions to the project, and most of them say polymodeled, polymodeled, polymodeled. Have you changed the Insta ID? No. British keep releasing sneak peeks of their new show. Hope it will be good as Arcane. Is it the Valorant one? Oh no, or is it like the one with the girl, like a Greek goddess girl? Have you seen my messages? No, I don't think so. One thing that I want to see in ZBrush is to choose quick saves not on my disk C, and that would be perfect. Choose quick saves as like to save them. I wonder if there's a way. Maybe there is. I just don't rely on them whatsoever, so I don't know. Sorry. Is there? Okay, so if we can trust Google, it says you can change the ZBrush Quick Save location by editing the ZBrush Quick Save packs text file in your ZBrush data folder. Not sure if we can trust that, but there is a video showing how to do that. I'm gonna send it in the chat. Hopefully it helps. I have a question, and I don't have any problems with Maya. We have a practical tool for making triangles. Does ZBrush have a similar tool? Yeah. I mean, we were doing it just now. There are a couple of ways. So let's just switch to Retopobrush. Come on. There you go. Okay. So you can extrude it out with Alt and then just, triangle. That's one way. Now, another way would be dropping down 2 points, snapping them, another triangle. The other way I showed, I think there is a way to drop down the triangle. Triangles, there you go. I'm doing something wrong. Yep, doing something wrong. Excuse me. ZBrush is in a great mood today. Hey everyone, Happy New Year. It's been a minute. Hey Ziki Gashi, welcome. Okay, let's try not to crash ZBrush once again. Okay. Again, Retopobrush. Another way you could just go Z modeler, and as I said, you can slice mesh, and you just select one point, another point, and it slices it, similar to how Maya slices polygons. I think slicing. There you go. Switch back to Retopo. I should actually add it to my palette. Let's do that. I'll show you how you can create your custom UI as well. Let's say you wanted to add the Retopo brush to your UI. Just open the brush palette to the side. Here is a small version of the Retopo brush, small icon. We go to Preferences, Configuration, and Enable Customize. It will put your ZBrush in this mode of customization. And you hold down Control-Alt and drag any button on your UI. You can drag it here. There you go. Now Preferences, you have to disable it, close it, and now it's here. So I can easily switch between the two. Oh, no, I cannot. That's interesting. That's interesting. Is that because... surely I can switch between them. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, something must have bugged out when I was doing it. Ooh. Welcome to Noxus. Ah, right. I think it's gonna be also Arcane, just a different storyline. Well, like, probably won't be called Arcane though. Hey Layla, you know, I also Hindi word. Hindi is Indian language. Yeah, I knew that. He asked me Maya is better than 3 days max and Blender. Okay, we're not here to discuss Maya. or Blender or 3ds Max. Oh no, don't start the software wars. Yeah, there's no need for that. Layla, which software do you like? I mean, it's pretty obvious. Da, da, da. What would it have cost Maxim to have equipped the knife tool? What do you mean? This is literally a knife tool, slice. What else do you need? It slices the same way, sort of. Perhaps there's another way. I'm just not well versed in the new Retopology tool. Perhaps there's a way to slice here. Oh yeah, I forgot to show off this tool. So, if you have a big area that you need to cover, but you're lazy, which is good. Laziness is what drives the progress. You can hold down Alt and drag out this point. Ah, come on. Nope. Alt, drag out the point. And really rusty right now. I apologize. Interesting. Finding new things out as we go. Yeah, there you go. So that's what I've been trying to do. Let's repeat that. Ooh, how many points do I have now? So basically this is a live it's a live line that's gonna snap to your geometry. You can reduce the number of points by holding down Alt and clicking on the middle line. And you can also update it. Something akin to ZBrush lines or old topology brush, but better, especially when you get used to it. So let's like drag it out here. Then I'm gonna reduce the poly count. Come on. Refusing to work with me today. Excuse me. Great. Let's pick an area where it's not gonna wig out on me. Now it's not showing points at all. Interesting. There you go. That's how it's meant to work. For some reason, it doesn't want to. Yeah, so it drops down 2 lines and then connects them. However, it doesn't seem to like me. Or perhaps my underlying mesh is a bit funky. Could be my fault, could be just me not understanding it very well. Yeah, so by clicking on the orange line and dragging, you can increase the number of edges or decrease them. In my case, maybe 1 is enough for now. Wait, then you click on the mesh to confirm. Now you can add more divisions if you'd like. For me, this is probably gonna be easier. Please. Okay, let's try again. Please work. Okay, good. Second, guys, I'm gonna close the window because my neighbors decided to, do reconstruction on a Saturday morning. I'm back. Since Maxon took over ZBrush, start to have more and more bugs. ZBrush always had bugs. Kinda get used to them. It is true that sometimes newer versions that just came out, like this one, will have some bugs, and that's why we have a dedicated testing team that reports those, get them fixed as soon as possible. Thinks about quick save tips, but I mean, that could be great that in the program was such function that you could press a button and choose where to save your quick files. Don't want to be rude, I'm sorry. No, you're not rude. That's a valid suggestion. Another question I have is, let's say I finished the retopology. Is there a way to disable that yellow square in the subtool menu when you do the retopology? I was trying to figure it out yesterday and today, and so far I haven't found an answer. People online say, and I know I should be more well-versed for the stream, but I'm gonna ask the guys, ZBrush guys, after the stream. There's supposed to be a topology sub palette somewhere here in the tool palette, which I can't seem to find. Just non-existent for me for some reason, unless I'm missing something. That just removes it. I was unsuccessful in my search for the such button, so there has to be a way. I just haven't found it. Well, that's a problem for the future me. It's a bit annoying that it's still there. However, it's already treated as actual geometry. It's not too big of a deal. It's just a bit visually annoying. iPad version is wonderful. I love it too. I love sculpting on the couch. It's great. And imagine you can now do let's say you wanted to sculpt on your PC, you do that, and then you're like, okay, I want to move to the couch, I don't know, hang out with your partner or friend or flatmate. And you just take an iPad and you can do retopology while hanging out with them. It's pretty cool. We can't really hear the noise from your neighbors. Okay, but it was annoying me. So I want to be focused on you guys and the stream, so School compression on your micro. Yeah, I'm using the NVIDIA broadcast, which utilizes my GPU to suppress all the noises, which there are a lot of them. I live in a very lively suburb, and everyone wakes up at around 5 a.m. and starts walking outside and talking, and all the birds, don't get me even started. Pretty noisy. So I'm happy to hear that you guys can't hear it. We have to summon Michael Pavlovich to solve this issue. Yes, yes, I think that would be the best solution. Um, and perhaps there is already a solution, and I just don't know about it. So I apologize for that. I never retopo my girlfriend. What? I meant that you could take your iPad and retopologize while sitting next to your partner. How much to work for? I am a pastor in all studies of art. Sorry, I don't quite understand the question. Okay, let's do this. Ooh, that was something new. This is fun. I should have named the stream Layla tries to break the new topology brush. So far, ZBrush already crashed twice, and I don't think it's ZBrush's fault. I just put it in really awkward scenarios. That's on me. Let me close the door as well. Back. Okay, I'll just keep going. So, I'm rarely, if ever, using any patches. Perhaps I could if it was a big object. So I prefer to retopologize manually, like you see me do on screen right now. So I think this edge is unnecessary. So to delete the whole edge, you could just hold Alt and it will create this line, but you need to create it on here, on the existing polygons. Then it turns red and it deletes it. However, it deleted everything in its way. I kind of don't want that. So let's delete these two, delete this one. Awesome. And now we can resolve this issue peacefully, hopefully. Okay. That's... Yeah, this is better. Okay. Why did I delete that edge? It's because sometimes you need to look at the silhouette of your character and see how much that extra edge that was adding many, many polygons was contributing to the overall silhouette, and it wasn't contributing a lot. So I got rid of it because I can. And it's not just ZBrush specific tip, it's wherever you're retopologizing. This is what's gonna set a beginner from a more of an intermediate artist apart. I see a lot of juniors either going too low poly where the silhouette is not captured, where they literally, and sometimes you have to. Let's increase the size a bit more. Ooh, I like that. they'll do something like this, which is okay for perhaps mobile games. But this model is not a mobile game model. It's got too many details for it. So it's more intended for like a AA project, perhaps. It's a personal portfolio piece, however, so it's not like it's gonna get used anywhere. But I see beginners like either do this, where it's a bit, first of all the polygons are stretched out like crazy, which if you were to show it to like a Retopology purist, they would say no, because the more you stretch out polygons, they are no longer like square, they're more rectangular. Your object is gonna shade a bit weird. So we try to not only get them in the same size as the neighboring polygons, but also same dimensions, you know, so not too stretched out. Obviously, sometimes this rule doesn't work, and that's okay. But I get asked this question a lot. How do you get your topology to be clean? This is how. You not only like you create topology and then you come back to it and you look over it and you correct some mistakes and make sure that the distance between polygons is somewhat equal. By distance, I mean like that their size is equal. New QA engineer, Layla. Yeah, hire me. I mean, I'm already here, so. My neighbor's very quiet. I envy you. We had this neighbor, old grandpa, who was swearing a lot, and you could hear him swearing. I'm not sure what that was about. I think he was watching some sports. He was very invested in his sports. So you could hear a lot of swear words I've never heard before. Yes, Aussie slang is multifaceted. So he moved out recently, which I know sounds bad, but I'm happy about it. So having quiet neighbors is a bliss. Okay, so this level of density I think is good for what I'm going for. I can reduce it a bit more and go over it more once I'm done with the whole thing. Then I'll review it and maybe I'll collapse some more edges. But for now, it's looking like this. Not making a lot of progress because, you know, I love to talk to you guys. But I hope this is helpful. Also, I changed the color of the whole thing by hitting Control W to create a polygroup. So the whole thing turned green to be one polygroup. And now, because I'm dragging out new polygons, they're naturally a different polygroup. So it could be a way for you to straight away define areas that you want to be a different UV island. And how that works is that, let's say I wanted to keep this strand a different UV island for some reason. And there can be many reasons why you would want to do that. You, on the final stage, once you're done with the model of this hairpiece, you could go to UV Master, turn off symmetry because we don't have a symmetrical mesh, and you can turn on polygroups. And ZBrush tells you, when active, UV Master will create separate UV islands for each polygroup found in the model, which is great. By creating different polygroups, you're basically telling ZBrush, hey, I want this to be its own UV island. And that's basically you defining UV seams. You don't need to cut anything like you do in Maya. And also having a separate polygroup is great because you can always Control-Shift-Click on it and crash ZBrush. You can Control-Shift-Click on it and isolate it. So gentle today. I can't do anything. This is probably my record of my 2.5 years of streaming here, maybe even 3 years of streaming here. My ZBrush has never crashed this many times. Perhaps I just need to do an update. Let's get this one back. But be careful, have your quick save ready, save often. In my humble opinion, Cozy Blanket on iPad is better for Retopo. I've heard of Cozy Blanket, but I haven't tried it myself yet. To make it brighter. You can buy shoes. Buy shoes? For what? I have shoes. Layla, would you like to become a pastor at the church or in the US? No. No. Wasn't on my bucket list. Swearing on cricket? Perhaps. Perhaps. If you're talking about the old dude next door, yeah, maybe. Chill game music soundtracks or something with a nice melody. Ah, you're talking about music. Yeah, yeah, that works. I like to listen to Ocarina of Time soundtrack or just any Zelda soundtrack, really, when I retopologize. You should learn new art. I am an artist. Have you ever heard of Leonardo da Vinci? Have I ever? Yes. Third time the charm. I know, right? I'm just so lucky today. ZBrush keeps on giving. Yeah, brush. Table. No, repetition is key. ZBrush just really wants us to remember these controls. Wants me to remember all the controls. Good. I think we got rid of this one, so let's do that again. No. What row do I click when trying to upload my project? Upload. Upload where? Hello, hi. Okay, we're gonna save often, guys. Mm. Cross fingers. But yeah, that should have just worked. Let me just save. Okay. Now let's say this is a new polygroup. Ooh. Drop these down and now Alt. And now I'm gonna click on Alt again to create a full thing. Wow. A lot of polygons. Too many. I see this is annoying me a bit that it's trying to snap there. So that's where I would go and decrease the merge threshold. Okay, great. The crashes aside, I am genuinely enjoying the new Retopology tool. It's very much what I'm used to in Maya. And even though a little bit buggy, I rarely have any problems with the points like kind of drowning in the mesh, which I would get in Maya a lot. By that I mean that polygons would just get submerged and it's really hard to get them out. Not polygons, sorry, points. Interesting. What do you like to sculpt the most and which style? Realism or stylized or something different? I'm going to guess Layla likes stylized. Who told you that? Scandalous. Never have I ever. If you go to my ArtStation profile, pretty much all I do is stylization. I love it. I'll do it until I'm bored, and then maybe I'll pivot, do like a 180, and start to do realism. Who knows? But for now, I'm really enjoying my stylization. That's what I'm gonna keep on doing. Okay, so we have like a splitting point here. I'm afraid that if I leave it like this, it's not gonna bake very nicely. So how would I resolve that? I would take my Z modeler, slice mesh, do not crease because I don't want creases. Ooh, hello. There you go. Is that what I wanted? Let's see. Maybe something like this, where I want like an extra edge here. I don't mind that. That would be funny advice for grandchildren. And remember, my dear, always save your work often. Yeah. By then, they'll be like sculpting in their heads or something, if 3D is still a thing. I hope it is. Be like, Grandma Layla is at it again. Had a nightmare about losing her work in ZBrush. Gonna turn up fell. It's annoying me a little bit. Also, sometimes I like to turn off transparency to see the underlying geometry a bit better. Maybe if I switch to like a glossier material, yeah. I like to put my edges that define the silhouette where the highest peak is. So for this piece of the hair, it's over here, and it was really hard to tell where it was with that shading. So by switching off transparency mode and switching the material to basic material 2, which is this very glossy, reflective material. Not glossy, more like specky. Maybe it's too much stylized in life, everything could change. Maybe. For now, I'm happy. Plus, stylization can be so different. Can be like Pixar level of stylized, can be Arcane level of stylized. Those are very different styles, right? No one's gonna argue with that. I even love Deaf and Robots stylized, but mixed with like very realistic textures sometimes. In VR it is awesome, but in overall sculpting, um, you mean sculpting in VR? I tried it once. I didn't like it. VR messes with my head. My head doesn't like it. There it is. So to drop down multiple edges, repeat after me. You hold down space, click, then let go of space, and then drag perpendicularly to the edge. So instead of down, it's like horizontal, I guess. So if I go down, nothing. Oh, maybe just drag it out. Any area is fine. And it snaps to the surface automatically, which is nice. VR sculpting is silly hype. I don't know. I tried it back in 2018 when I was in uni. I'm sure it has gone a long way since then. It has improved a lot since then, but just not for me. Okay, in this area, you see a lot of planes intersect, and ideally, I would have brought this point up in high poly sculpting, but let's say I was lazy and I didn't do that. Whoops. Let's go to Z Modeler. Let's save. We've learned that today, haven't we? And now let's just click. Nope, doesn't want to do that. Boop, boop, boop. Delete, delete. The easiest would be to delete that. But like this. Okay. But then there's this issue. I want to do it all the way. Not really. I'm going to terminate it here. Just going to bring these, not too down. Bring these edges lower. Now I can terminate this one. Increase the draw size because ZBrush assesses the area of your draw size and tries to fill it in with a polygon. So if it's too small, it's not going to fill it in. There you go. So I guess it is sort of camera based, but also it snaps to geometry. So I'm not sure how to answer that question from the beginning of the stream. Go, can increase it. Okay, almost done with this area. How would I resolve this awkward area? Interesting. Let's switch to something lighter so you guys can see what I'm dealing with. Okay. What is Bro saying? I don't know. He's on something, probably. Just a troll. Good night. Good night, Matet. You see, you're scaring him away with your toes out nonsense. Stop. Is it too late to change your model characters? What do you mean? From pastor to Da Vinci to shoes to toes, I'm lost. So am I, my friend. So am I. For people who don't know what's going on, um, I'll just put oh, I'll just put the chat here. I hate doing hair in 3D. No, don't. It's not that bad, especially when you get your workflow down. Doesn't have to be scary. I've been thinking of maybe doing like a quick tutorial on YouTube on how I approach hair, which isn't the only way to do hair, by the way. just stylized. There's so many ways to do it, like hair cards or actual grooming of the hair for offline productions, sometimes online productions as well. What is this guy saying? I don't know. How much time do you spend on models like that from zero till done? If it was in a professional setting and I had to get it done for work, this specific character has quite a few things going on. Actually, let's quickly put her to the side so everyone can see what we're working on. No, not here, maybe here. There you go. Hmm. 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 Great. Well, you know it's her. Um, Maybe this is better. So she's got quite a few details on her front panel thingy and on her shoes as well. And don't get me started on earrings and all the details. So I'd say her should take me around 2 weeks. So 5 days a week, 8 hour days. Um, at my work, we work 7.5 hour days. So it's equal to 37.5 hours a week. Yeah, maybe around that. 2 weeks, that would give me plenty of time to do everything. If it had to be done quicker, I'd say a week and a half. But because it's a personal project, I've been torturing her and myself with this project for the past 2 years, switching back and forth between different things I need to get done. Also, getting a new job, moving to another country. I know, excuses, but she never got finished. That's why when I heard that ZBrush is releasing the new Retopology tools, I was like, finally, let's do that. Let's just keep it all in ZBrush, organized, hopefully. As organized as I can be, as you can see. Don't be lost, bro. I'm a master creator from life. Okay. The upside is tremendous. Okay. Yes, please. Okay. Okay. I'll add it to the list. um, I was also thinking of rigging this character with Character Creator. If you guys have never heard of it, it's an awesome software as well, which works great in tandem with ZBrush, which lets you rig your 3D sculpts and send them back and forth to pose them or even animate them in some cases. And there are awesome tools that let you even do some mocap capture. So I could potentially make her talk by using my own face, which would be fun. I've tried that for my work pipeline and it worked great. So maybe I'll do a silly little video of me setting up like thing is called AccuLink or AccuCam, something like that. And yeah, you can bring your ZBrush creations to life. So those are the plans for 2026. Release some tutorials. Perhaps I'll get to the bottom of all the things in Retopology brush and release something on that, since it's a new tool and not a lot of you guys have tried it yet, or maybe you want to, but you're scared. Don't be scared, just save often, as we've learned today. Save often and pray to the ZBrush gods, and you'll be fine. How did you lock it over there? I'm a bit new to ZBrush. Lock it. This one? Lock it in place here. Viking, if you could elaborate, I'll tell you how I did that. Oh my god. If I buy Intro to ZBrush Maximum Platform or classes, can I sell my art? I'm not quite sure what you mean. If you buy ZBrush, you can work in ZBrush. And if you work in ZBrush, you can get a job or a freelance gig. Then you can sell your art. Yes? I'd love a tutorial on Character Creator. Great. I know that Michael Pavlovich has done one, which you can watch now. And also Pablo Munoz Gomez has done an amazing series as well with like an alien, red alien looking dude, which were my references when I was studying how to do the whole ZBrush 2 Character Creator thing. But now Character Creator 5 is out and ZBrush is out with 2026 version. So there's a lot of new features to learn, which I'm looking forward to. I mean, I had some time to rest, spend some time with my family over the Christmas break. So I'm ready to, get back into it. Well, it's quite fast. What's fast? The rigging tools, I mean. Yeah, yeah. The whole thing is great. I've rigged two of my characters, one of them being Jinx Rapunzel mix, and the other one was General Rowan, the lady with the shield and short haircut. Both were rigged in Character Creator. And also Zeri. Zeri, the Spark of Zon, my arcane fan art. Also rigged in Character Creator. But back then I didn't know many things that you can do in there. I believe it would be a smoother sailing now for all of us. What else? Yo, hello, Igrimly. Oh, thank you for the recommendations. I'll check those out then. Thank you. Oh, good. Yeah. Pablo and Michael. Great stuff. Combine them together. I mean, that's just too much good knowledge there, the space-time continuum would just rip if you were to listen to both of their tutorials at the same time. It's just like too much good stuff. What are your POV of ZBrush for iPad? Love it. It's great. I don't use it as often because I have too many hobbies. I've been recently getting into anatomy studying in 2D and drawing and gesture drawing and all of that jazz, which is great, but it takes up a lot of my time. But I have tried sculpting on iPad. I loved it. I took my iPad when I was traveling back home in 2025, last year. That was fun. I would sculpt in the airport. Loved it. I love the feature that is here. We can do Go Z to iPad. And if I think both devices are on the same Wi-Fi network, you can seamlessly transfer your current file, let's say this file, to an iPad and back, which is great. The hard surface, I hate Maya because it's a stable program that loves to crash and makes some weird stuff with models. I thought about a program that I could use for Retopo and ZBrush make it in. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, it hasn't been the most stable process for me either. So I think it's just part of being a 3D artist, is saving often. However, I do believe it's because it's a recently added feature and it's gonna get smoothed out over the next few months. I'm sure of it. Like, I'm sure when ZRemesher came out, it was also buggy as hell. And over time, it got better. Same with Dynamesh or Sculptures Pro. Sculptures Pro to this day, if you don't know what it is, it's this thing. Yeah, to this day, I I know some people love it. Sometimes I use it. Most of the time, I stay true to my Dynamesh. The one and only. It's my personal preference, though. I know a lot of artists that work with sculptures, and they're fine. Just not for me. Why do you not want to? Hmm? 40 degrees Christmas. Yes. Right now it's 30, but I think on Christmas it was around 35. It was interesting experience. So I'm happy now. Oh, that's good. Um, the new character creator looks intense. I haven't tried it yet. I wouldn't say intense. They added a couple new features which look cool. They have new things for, I think, like they added 100 or maybe more sliders to control all the little what are the word I'm looking for? The little expressions of your face, like the little sliders for all the corners of the mouth, the tips of the nose, stuff like that. So it provides you with more control over your character, but I wouldn't call it a brand new software, so don't get intimidated. I think all UI stayed the same, just has new features. Speaking of UI, ZBrush is getting new UI this year. You guys excited? It's not going to be mandatory, by the way. If you want to stay with your old UI, you can. But I'm definitely going to try it out. Apparently, it's going to have a search bar feature. I'm saying it very carefully because I am known for saying that this new feature is coming out and then it has either already come out or not at all. But yes, search bar feature, new UI, more user friendly, apparently. Even though I'm used to ZBrush looking a bit weird and I love it. But a lot of people who just start out, they're like, "Ooh, why is it so weird?" Blah blah blah. Um, so I think that's going to be great for newcomers. Are you guys excited? Does the Retopology brush work in the perpetual ZBrush? Do you mean the 2021, 2022? No, it's a 2026 version. With the new update, you can get Retopology. I mean, it's been quite a few versions now since the perpetual thing died. I still have it. I think I have ZBrush 2021. Just not installed on my machine because I mostly use the latest version. Save. I'd imagine not, because Perpetual is locked to 2022. Yeah, I think so. But can the brush be exported somehow to work with the old ZBrush? No, no, the brushes are not backwards compatible. Is that the word? No, I'm afraid not. It's a new feature that had to be written specifically for the new ZBrush. The old version just doesn't have it. At least that's what my academic institution had for their perpetual licenses before switching to Maxon 1. I see. Yep, only for 2026. Of course, everything is started not perfect and then step by step stay cool. Excited for sure. Awesome. It's really funny to me because I remember something people complained about for the longest time was the UI, and now suddenly everyone's complaining now that they have announced the revamp. Just give people to complain something about, you know. We are very simple creatures in some aspects, you know. It happens every year. The summer rolls around, it's too hot, everyone complains and misses the cold. As soon as the cold time of the year hits, everyone's like, oh, I miss summer, I miss fruits, I miss the warmth. A man can never be satisfied with what they have. Part of our DNA, I think, to complain. Plus, we are afraid of the new features, of the new things in our lives, so maybe that's also playing the part. Not sure if that's the most graceful solution here, but I'll stick to it. Sometimes I like to just give everything the same polygroup and look at it as a solid mesh without the underlying high poly. I am not too disturbed by this. I am a bit disturbed by how high poly the mesh is in here and how many edges I have here. I think it's just an overkill, so maybe I'll clean it up. We'll see. For now, let's keep going for another maybe 20 minutes, maybe a bit more, if no one's lined up after me. Definitely good for newcomers though, right? On the internet, it's cool to complain. I'm sorry, but in this version, is the new UI or is it old? This is an old UI. New UI hasn't been rolled out yet. It is coming this year. We don't know when, but it is this year. I think it's the first half of the year, if I'm not mistaken. You didn't see a new one. It was announced in, I think, ZBrush Summit 2025 that took place in November. They have announced new features during the ZBrush Summit, and one of them that was teased was the new UI. Perhaps if you go on Maxon ZBrush Instagram page, you'll be able to see some previews there. I'm used to the UI, but I do remember it being very challenging when I first started, so the new UI will be great for new users to jump on board easier. Yep. I'd say from my personal experience, got into ZBrush was weirded out by the UI, just rolled with it. And then I think it was Polygon, an artist, who introduced me to custom UIs and custom menus, such as a very creatively named one, Layla, I know. And now when I'm using a stylus, which I haven't been using this stream, but I usually have this button, the further away one from the tip, to summon my custom UI. And I always have all of these neat features that I use 99% of the time in here, so I don't need to go digging for them in all the other menus, which is nice. Would you guys want to see the process of retopologizing her face, or is it a very much covered topic at this point? There are a lot of resources online, so that's why I'm asking if that's something you'd be interested in at all. This is better. Let's bring it back. For now, I'm okay with high poly. We can always cut down on the poly count later. If I were to put into words why I'm doing this, I'm just looking at overall where the sizes start to vary a bit too much, from like big to small. And if an area looks dense, I like squint my eyes, and if I see that the area looks too dense, it's a bit easier to see when you have nothing underneath. Then I collapse some edges. Also, if this is annoying you, every time you turn, it's like regenerating the mesh underneath. If you go here and above solo, there is dynamic mode. If you disable it, now it's going to be smooth and it's not going to do that jittery thing. Honestly, if the iPad version is the heading for the UI, I'm all for it. I think it is. Obviously, it's going to be adapted for the PC version, so there are going to be more buttons and just like slightly differently placed, I think. But yeah, it's so good. I love it too. And it wasn't too hard to adapt to. I think it's the team did a really good job at keeping the colors and overall logic of where all the tools would be the same. And also like they saw that a lot of people do this. They put custom, or not custom, but they place their favorite brushes along the bottom. And if you see a lot of gaps here, it's because I've taken some out and I haven't placed them back in. I'm yet to do that. I usually have like a full row here. So they took that idea and they implemented it into the iPad version, which I think was a good decision. Coming from PC ZBrush since 2018 to today, the iPad version is just so comfortable. There you go. Yes, 100%. I think the face has been covered enough times. There you go. Well, I think it's already better than in any program for 3D. I am not against new, but I could choose what to use, old and new. Am I right? Yes, that's correct. You can, I think, upon startup, sorry, almost flipped my glass. You can choose between old and new UI. That would be lovely. You mean to choose the UI? Think we're almost at the 2-hour mark. I'm gonna check if I have anyone lined up after me, because I wouldn't want to intrude. ZBrush live calendar. And it's another thing that not a lot of people know about, but if you type into Google ZBrush live calendar, there is a calendar that lets you know who is lined up next. So the next one is Anya. Anisa Genjo, Anna Biganska, amazing artist from Ukraine, but she's lined up tomorrow. No. January 10th. It's confusing because we all live in different time zones. So I'm not sure if the website is giving me the accurate time. So I think she is going to stream tomorrow. It's confusing. Mm-hmm. I think we're in the clear. I can stream for a little bit more if you guys don't mind. I have nowhere to be today. It's Saturday. The only thing I have to do is probably eat some food for breakfast. But I'll be fine. I don't like how I connected it here. It looks gross. Perhaps. Do it like this. By the way, if you want to switch from like this maximum to minimum UI, it's just hitting tab on your keyboard. So you see me doing that a lot. I think he is about iPad version features. Ooh. From Ukraine, me too. Can you send a link to her art station? Yes, of course. Anna Big Guns. I think she goes by. She has a few, yeah, nicknames, slash names. I don't want to assume. Here's Anya. She's a good friend of mine. She also streams here and does stylized artworks. So go check her out. The hair stream is up next. I could not tell you the time because I am confused with the whole time conversion thing. But it's soon, so don't miss it. Wait, okay. This is still ugly, but it annoys me a bit less, if you know what I mean. Also, another thing I try to think about is how this mesh is gonna get rigged, both in my personal projects, because I'll be the rigger, and my professional projects at work, because we have a rigging team that's gonna handle my files. Also, this messiness is only acceptable when I'm working on personal projects. I am usually less messy at work. But yeah, I think about where the bones are going to be placed and how the mesh is going to get deformed. There won't be a lot of deformation on this one since the hairstyle is very, very short. But she has these front bangs here, which I kept as a separate piece of geometry because I want to retopologize them separately. And then it will be a bit easier to assign maybe like 2 bones to them so they can dangle along with her cool looking earrings, which I've already retopologized. That's why you don't see the high poly. I think I killed it. But yeah, I think this whole piece in the front will be a solid mesh. The triangles will be baked on the transparency, so I don't need to retopologize them by hand. What else? I think I'll keep the bracelets separate from the body. Feet are gonna be interesting. I'll need to figure that one out. Did I not send the... Yeah, I sent her ArtStation. Oh, Anna Biganska, she is a mentor at the school I go to. She's super nice. Oh, nice. She works at CGMA, right? I think there's a CGMA Academy here in Australia as well. Yeah, she is great at explaining stuff. I've reached out to her many times over the years because I originally came from a film TV background, so mostly works for offline pipeline with where rendering is done beforehand as opposed to real time. So some rules were different, and when I was adapting to work in the games industry, she helped me a lot. He also took an interview from me about a year ago on her channel. I think we did it in English as well. I'm not as well versed in Ukrainian. I understand it very well, but can't speak it. Because my grandma is Ukrainian and she would always talk to me in Ukrainian. It's kind of funny. People ask me how I can speak different languages and, or at least understand them. They're like, "Oh, you must have learned it." I'm like, "Oh no, It's the same way the kids learn it, right? They're just forced, like, they're just placed in the environment where there's no other language, so your brain adapts. Have you guys had to go for something similar? Are you bilingual? I remember her vids when I started video. I saw her channel on YouTube. Thanks. You're welcome. I'm not sure if she still works at CJMA, especially with her recent implosion. I meant think tank. She's a think tank. That's awesome. I just remember something about CJMA. Maybe I'm mistaken. Think tank is a cool school. I was considering doing a course there once. It is a bit expensive though. And I couldn't take a student loan at that time. So I just learned everything off YouTube. Literally. I get so fired up, and not in a good way, when people say that art is inaccessible, because it is very much accessible, especially if you have an advantage of knowing an extra language. That means that so many more doors are open to you. You have so much more material to work with. You can research in two languages as opposed to one, which is amazing. Anyway, I'm not gonna go on a whole rant about um, art, and don't even get me started on AI. He has some videos for their course content and does some mentorship sessions with them. Awesome. So you got Ukrainian blood. It's really cool. Yeah, I do. I have Moldovan, Ukrainian, Russian, and Tatar, all mixed together. But I grew up in Moldova, and then a lot of things happened, and I moved to New Zealand, and now I'm living in Australia. Moved last year, and it's been great so far. Taking a while, but hair usually takes me a long time because of how intricate the shapes are. Let's try that thing again. No. Ugh. It's doing it again. No. Yeah, not a huge fan of this feature. Perhaps I just am not using it correctly. But other than that, pretty smooth sailing. start lining up the edges like this as well. No, but I speak only English with silly Caribbean accents, barely heard any other languages growing up. I see. Yeah, to be honest, there is content for free online that's better than a lot of paid content, anyways. I feel like the main advantage of schools aren't even the courses, but rather community and networking. For sure. Couldn't agree more. I know some languages, but I'm not fluent speaking person except Ukrainian and some languages, and one language that better to forget, and English, of course. I see. Oh, come on. That for some reason. Let's inspect it. Ah, I see. So there are some inverted polygons here. It's interesting. Not sure how that happened, but if you turn on double, you'll be able to see any inverted polygons. So let's switch to Retopobrush, and now it's working as intended. That one is closed. I'm intending to just close this gap with like a big circle with a lot of edges merged in the middle, so kind of like not a star, a pole, I guess. Hmm. Work, do you hand off your 3D models for another team member to do retopology? No, I always do retopology myself. It's very rare. Some outsourced studios that I know of do that, but it's very rare to have like a separate retopology artist on the job. So, and I'm pretty competent in it, so there is no point really. I feel like it's a requirement now. You can't just sculpt and that's it. Unless, again, very rare cases where just sculpting is enough. I've known of such studio. I think it's called Dragonfly. It's an outsourced studio that has done some work on Ruined King and Overwatch. So, and many other projects, of course, but those are the big ones. And they, in the past at least, would hire people just for retopology or just for sculpting or texturing. Not sure if that's still the practice there. I believe you need to learn all of them. Have higher chances, especially now. The competition is, not gonna lie, intense. It took me around 11 months to find my current job. I was still employed at the time, but I wanted to do games, to work in games more, as opposed to, as I said, animation industry. Yeah, I believe having a bigger skill set is great. Not to be confused with spreading yourself too thin and knowing everything, but being master of none, you know? Um, that's not good. And I see a lot of beginners do that mistake, make that mistake, where they're not sure what they want to do, so they're gonna model a robot and then sculpt a cute girl in ZBrush, and then they're gonna I don't know, do an environment piece and then some concept art and then do some rigging. And then a recruiter stumbles upon their portfolio, or maybe they send their portfolio through to a studio, and the recruiter is confused because they look at their portfolio and they're not sure what that person wants to do. So you have to be very intentional with what you put in your portfolio on ArtStation. Not put out the work that you don't want to get hired for. So if you don't want to model mechs, don't put out mechs. If you don't want to model props, don't post props. Anyway, going on a tangent. Oof, who gets to do retopology only at work? Some people. Very rarely, but sometimes. I have heard of 3D concept artists only work on the designs and then hand off the models to be optimized. Yes, again, very, very niche, and only very well-off studios do that. If you're speaking of Rafael Grassetti, he is more of an exception from the rule rather than an industry standard. He is amazing at sculpting very, very fast, so he is technically a 3D concept artist that doesn't do retopology, but that model does not exactly get used in the end game. It's more of like a visual that's then gets you know remodeled basically to be used in game. I know that sometimes on projects people can make all pipeline of model and give it texture to another person. Yes, sometimes. It was nice to meet you, but I have to go to bed now. Goodbye. Have a nice day. Thank you, Ivan. It was nice chatting to you. Thank you. Bye. And again, I have an issue here. If we turn on double, we'll see what the issue is. Something is not snapping together. That's probably why. Please. Yeah, some areas like these are tricky. I'm not a huge fan, especially of how many points come to an end here. Maybe I'll just get back to it a bit later. See it with the fresh eyes, as they say. Whew. I'm gonna put this one down, and then I'm gonna get rid of these two. There you go, that's better. Same here. Try not to zoom in too much, because then you get tunnel visioned and you add too many unnecessary edges. Not too bad of a progress considering this mesh is asymmetric, and also we've had 3 crashes this stream. So I'm trying not to be too hard on myself for not doing a lot in 2 hours. But have you guys tried the Retopology brush, or you're just learning with me for now? Maybe I've scared you off from using it, since it's a little bit buggy today, at least for me. So we've extruded out this edge, and now we can see that it's not really adhering to our preferred silhouette. But here, that would be an overkill to continue it all the way up, right? Because at some point, it doesn't matter that it doesn't adhere. So what I do, I just delete a polygon here, hold down spacebar, and I drop an edge loop. As you can see, it helps us with the silhouette, but right about here is when I want to terminate it. And this is the same thing I would do in Maya or Blender or any other software, but now I'm doing Topology in ZBrush, just dragging out a triangle and terminating it, because this is good, but we don't need it to continue all the way up there. Perhaps even here is good. This is good. And there you go. Okay, not bad. Save. Hello there. What is advantage over ZRemesher for the Z retopo? Okay, great question. Z retopo or retopo is snapping directly onto the object, and it doesn't have to be constrained to one object. It can be many objects. So you can combine, let's say, her dress with her body if you wanted to, which in some games would be preferable, although not often. So as you can see, I drag out 4 dots, then hold down the spacebar, and it creates a polygon. And all those 4 dots have snapped to the geometry. With ZModeler, that was the question. Oh, sorry, ZRemesher. ZRemesher does not give a clean result. What ZRemesher creates oftentimes, which we've saved, we can try it. Although this is pretty high res, let's drop down the resolution, right, to something like this. Let's say we wanted to zero mesh that, right? Let's say I want 5K polygons. Let's wait. Okay. First of all, a bit too high poly, so let's drop it a bit more. And let's half that. Still a bit too much. Let's try the lowest possible. Okay. This is pretty close to what we have there. And you might say, Layla, this looks good enough. And I say, no. Why no? If we crease an edge, let's say this one, this is actually not going too bad. It's kind of going all around the model. That's a nice case scenario. Bad case scenario starts to happen when you select an edge. Let's say you are in UV stage where you want to cut it and make a nice laid out UV out of it. This starts to happen. It goes here and then it goes there and then it overlaps on itself. So topology has a really weird flow to it. Then the other part is it's very inconsistent. So you see how rectangular this portion is because ZBrush is trying to adapt to the mesh's curvature. So it decided that this area has a lot of not details, but like a very intense silhouette. So it needed to put many more polygons there. And you're like, okay, Layla, but we can, you know, just remove some, insert, like delete, edge loop complete, and delete it. As soon as you try to delete it, because you didn't manually retopologize it, there are no manual flow of the topology, it creates issues like these. And then you have to sit down and clean it up. Not nice. This area doesn't look too bad, but it kind of dips. And ideally, I would want to have my lines aligned perpendicular to the floor, so like in line with the floor horizontally. So when the rigger puts bones in it, it bends very nicely. And trust me, if you ever get in the company and let's say you're a beginner and you want to be valued there, make your rigger happy, make your TD team happy, because it is valued a lot and you want to take care of the people who come after you in games or movies or in any production. It never ends with just your model handoff. You need to consider the people that come after you. And if I were to give this zero meshed thing to the rigger, they would hate me. They wouldn't say anything, they would just quietly hate me. And we don't want that. That's why here we are, quietly retopologizing everything. And then in the end, I'll do something like this. Now line it up. Be very, very clean and easy to use, but also something that bakes nicely. Baking is a whole other monster in itself. I hope that kind of answered it. We talked about a lot in the 2 hours, don't worry. Fair enough. We even talked about pastures and shoes. Don't even, yeah, we did. Don't even get me started on some people in the chat. I mean, it makes it fun, right? And Da Vinci, yeah. That's crazy. Control. Automatic retopo versus manual, in short. Yes. All jokes aside, it's great to see another Layla stream again. Thank you. Lots of looping topology. Yes, Zero Mesher by default will create a lot of spirals, as we call them. And spirals are a nightmare to rig. They're a nightmare to UV unwrap. They're just a nightmare altogether. So avoid spirals at all costs. And spirals are, because I don't have like a drawing thing right now. Imagine my stylus, right? And you're trying to do retopology of a stylus, and maybe it's not a stylus, it's an arm of a character. It's gonna, bend. And let's say in good case scenario, you would put a loop around it that connects, right? It starts here and it ends here. But what Zero Mesher does, it creates a spiraling loop that goes down. So when you look at it, it's kind of like, it's kind of nice. But then you select the edge and it just spirals all the way down. And then there is no clean way to paint the weights when rigging for your character's arm to bend, because there is the spiral that goes down to the inferno. And your rigger will indeed be in hell. So don't do that. Covered that. Is it worth learning this stuff after AI 3D model generator? Have you seen what Topology AI model generators output? Yes, it's worth. Every minute I've spent in ZBrush is worth it because I am having fun. And I've said it multiple times before. Even if somehow I'm out of a job, I'll still want to do it. I still enjoy 3D. I'm not here for the money. It's really nice, don't get me wrong. I'm glad and I'm grateful I'm able to earn my own living of doing this. But that's not the primary reason why I'm here. I really enjoy teaching. I really enjoy chatting to you all. I enjoy learning something new. It keeps my brain alive, It's good, I think. So, is it worth it for me? Absolutely. Is it worth it for you? You kind of have to figure it out for yourself. Oh boy. Control too. Yeah, control is great. Because the process of UVs and texturing actually starts on Retopology, right? For any of the gym dudes and dudettes in the chat, it's the same thing as with growing muscle. You don't just need to, go to the gym or do some sort of sport, weightlifting, I don't know, you name it. You also need to have a clean, healthy diet, right? That's part of it. Then what else? You need to sleep very well. You can't just do one thing and forget about the others. You won't get good results. Same with retopology and UVs. They're all part of the same process. So if you neglect one, the other ones will suffer as well. Well said. Don't miss leg day. You want to look like. Yep. I used to be. I don't know if you knew this part of me. I used to be a gym enjoyer. I would go religiously 4 times a week, and well, quite frankly, I had more muscle back then. However, at some point, I just grew so bored of it um, that I decided to try out different sports, and I'm glad I did because some of them are way more fun than weightlifting ever was for me. That being said, I have mad respect for people who religiously go to the gym and take care of their bodies because you can't just do free full time without taking care of your body, because in that case, your career will most likely be short. Bit of dark humor for you there. But yeah, jokes aside, take care of your bodies, guys. Drink water, sleep well. You can tell that I slept well and I'm pretty in a pretty good state right now because I haven't lost it during the stream when ZBrush crashed 3 times. So if you want to be as peaceful as I am, make sure to take care of your body. Not to say that I'm some sort of saint, because I do get anxious and irritated and all that good stuff, just like any other human being. Change of topic. Have you guys seen Zootopia 2? I went with my work to see it before the end of 2025. I quite enjoyed it. There were some things that weirded me out though, but I think it's a common trend over the last couple of years. I've noticed that cartoons and even long form media like movies have become so fast paced, so snappy, um, that I can no longer register what's going on. And Zootopia 2 has suffered from that, unfortunately. Let's say, for instance, if you've ever sat down with maybe a kid that you know, your own kid, your nephew, niece, anyone, and you've seen any of their cartoons that they're watching right now, my god, your head is gonna burst of how many things are happening on screen to keep them entertained. So that's how I felt during Zootopia 2 as well, even though I enjoyed the plot and the characters and the jokes, great jokes. It was a bit too much. Which makes me wonder, am I a millennial or Gen Z? I never quite settled on that whole dilemma because I was born in the year of 2000, so I'm 25 now. All I know is that fast paced cartoons annoy me, and noises outside annoy me. Perhaps I am a grandma deep inside. Save. You guys are quiet. Unless the stream has fallen off and I haven't noticed. That would be unfortunate. Nope. It's all good. Gen Z for sure. How can you tell? Just from the birth year? Is there some sort of test online that you need to take? Because different sources online tell you different things. They say that Gen Z starts from like 2005, and sometimes they say 2000, and they stretch the millennials to like 2000s, so not sure. Then there's Gen Alpha, which I think is after Gen Z. But the first iPad came out when I was about 10 years old, so does it make me an iPad kid? I don't know. Too many things. Also, if you've noticed, I am separating each lock that she has, so you can see that there are very distinct locks here. Maybe even more apparent here. There you go. So I'm trying to split them into these areas. So when I get to UVs, I could potentially cut them up. And why would I do that is if I cut them up, I can potentially straighten them. And if I straighten them, then I can put this noise texture inside Substance or even inside Unreal Engine to create this anisotropic fake hair shader. I say fake, but it's a stylized hair shader. You see it very prominent in Overwatch. I'm talking about these streaks on the hair. So if you were to separate your locks in the Retopology stage, then you could straighten them and do that trick. So that's what I meant when I said that your gains start in the kitchen or your texturing starts in Retopology. It's had childhood in the 90s. Okay, so that's my sister then. She's 34, I think. But maybe an old soul Gen Z. I like the sound of that. In my opinion, people between 1997 2005 are zillennials. I guess Gen Alpha has their childhood in the 2010s. We're not millennials, but we're not like the 70s, 67 kids either. What's the 67 kids? I'd say we grew up with mostly the same things the millennials had. I love zillennials. Yeah, I love it too. Patented. That term is perfect. Does the workflow require updated ZBrush or will 2022 have the same tools? No, unfortunately, this is a 2026 feature that will only be present in 2026 and after. Yeah, sorry. I feel like Zillennials grew up with the Pixar movies and 3D. Oh, I definitely did. I had cassettes. But also, I grew up in Moldova, which was lagging maybe like 5 years behind the rest of the world because it's the middle of nowhere. And where when everyone already had CD discs, I still had cassettes. And when everybody switched to USB sticks, we already had CDs. We only had CDs. And then the whole streaming, torrenting thing became a thing. Anyway, lagging behind, that's the point. And I grew up with all the Disney classics on cassettes. But for some reason, because I'm bilingual, obviously, I grew up in a Russian speaking family household and a Moldovan speaking slash Russian speaking country. So anyway, the cassettes, they were either illegally brought in and then dubbed for the Russian speaking population. But for some reason, there was just this one guy who was dubbing all of these cassettes, and he had some sort of disease, I'm pretty sure, that made him sound so nasally. It was constantly blocked. So I think I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. I had like little childhood trauma of Belle and the Beast sounding like um, a man in his 40s with a very serious nose blockage problem, which made for a fun childhood. And when I finally discovered proper dubbing and then original dubbing in English, I was like, oh wow, all actors have their own voices. That's insane. Or all characters, should I say. But it was still fun. I had 101 Dalmatians, I had Beauty and the Beast, had The Little Mermaid, I had later down the line some CD discs with Pixar movies. My favorite was Monsters Inc. for sure. So in that regard, I feel like we're blessed to be exposed to amazing cartoon and movies as well of like 90s, 2000s, 2010s. And I'm not so fond of the movies that have come out recently, to be honest. There are some gems here and there, but I believe that the golden era of long form cartoons was 2000s, 2010s, maybe like 90s. I'm talking strictly about 3D, not so much 2D. I feel like Zillennials grew up with Pixar movies. Yep, I read that. Okay, thanks. It's a dumb meme. I don't get. That's why I harp on people who use the 67 meme. Так и знал. Привет, привет. Yeah, I get that sometimes people only reach out to me in English, but I always say that I'm open to speaking in any language that I can speak or understand, whether that be Russian or Ukrainian or Moldovan. I'm open because the more people I can, reach with the knowledge that I have, the better, right? So if someone is uncomfortable speaking in English, By the way, I'll shamelessly plug myself before we end the stream in about 10 minutes, since it's already been 3 hours. I have my Discord server. The link is down below. I have my link tree there. In Discord, I want to hang out more with you guys this year. Last year, after moving, I've kind of stopped doing it, but I want to bring the community back. So during those hangouts, we, sculpt, retopologize, UV, unwrap, just chat sometimes. Sometimes I give feedback. There's a special feedback chat where you can post your work in progress pictures, and I'll come back to you when I have time. If not, some other people might come back to you. It's a very welcoming community and it's growing. We have around 350 people last time I checked, which is amazing, considering I've only discovered Discord 2 years ago. I was very late to the game, I know. Servers, I mean. I didn't know that servers were a thing. But that's where you'll find me. I'm also on Instagram, YouTube, have a Telegram channel, but I'm not very active there. And obviously my ArtStation is also linked down below. If you don't know who I am or what I do, you can see my portfolio. It might give you a better picture. So if I wanted to smooth it all out or kind of like move points around, I can turn the draw, move by draw size back on, increase the size, and now let's say I want to nudge it in place like so. Works similarly to soft selection in Maya. You can also use smooth retopo. I use it very rarely because it usually ruins where all of my points should go. I'm very specific about my points placement. So I don't use it that often. But if it was a very, let's say, large area and I needed to relax some points there, I would definitely use that. Look at it. Pretty good. Obviously, could clean up some areas. For now, it's all good. Okay, we have 5 minutes remaining. If you guys have any questions or suggestions for the next stream, please let me know now, because I'll be going soon. Okay, we can see that this area is not conforming to the silhouette very well either. So we can do the same trick. I delete, come on, I delete this polygon, and then hold down Shift and click to drop down an edge. And now we can terminate it. Yeah. Go. This is not too bad, so I leave it. Thank you. Oh, good. Also, for those who don't know my schedule, I stream every 2 weeks here. So you'll see me in 2 weeks' time, which will be the 24th for me. If you are behind Australia, that will probably be Friday, the 23rd of January. But yeah, this is my regular streaming schedule. I usually stream for 2 hours, but today I felt like going a bit more, and I didn't have anyone lined up after me. I hope. If not, I really apologize. Yeah. So, to summarize, some of you said that you would like to see a hair sculpting tutorial. Is that right? I can definitely do that. I just need to write a script probably and record it. For some reason, a lot of people struggle with hair. I think I understand why. It's very organic and flowing shape. And yeah, it can be a bit overwhelming because of how many forms it can take. With the human body, it's more or less the same bones, same muscles. With hair, it can take so many forms, like I said. Okay. Let's say we're like 60% there. This will be very easy because it's symmetrical. So yeah, you can also work on symmetry here. We could even drop down one of these patches here to save us some time, because we'll never see the inside of the hair anyway. А на этом канале разные художники стримят. Это что-то вроде канала с лайвами, где попутно с процессом моделирования объясняется, как работать в программе. Да, да, это ZBrush'овский канал. Мы тут этим и занимаемся. По случайности сюда попал, поэтому не совсем понимаю. Да, у нас много крутых стримеров. Мы болтаем и 3D-шим. I'm off to take the break from working on my stuff. Thanks for the stream, Layla. Looking forward to the next one. Yeah, thank you so much, Colin, for stopping by. I'm also wrapping up. I'm about to say my goodbyes and also head off to have some breakfast because my stomach's making noises again. Creating curved brushes for hair. Okay, yeah, good one. I'll write it down. Curved brushes, hairstyling probably. Maybe I'll research the Retopology brush a bit more in depth. I'll figure out that orange square thing. I feel like I'm just being silly, and there's an easy solution for that. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. 5. I know. Um, as I said, all the links are down below if you want to follow me anywhere other than ArtStation Instagram. There's also YouTube and Discord. And I hope you had a great time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and have an amazing rest of your day wherever you are. Bye.